you know, you've gone through your life, and if somebody had told, I mean, I know personally I can't live with regret. I have to just go forward. But sometimes I have to say, sometimes I get angry when I look back and wish I had known certain things. So I'm just, I can't imagine
what I know now.
Right. Right.
Well, but the thing is, I wasn't angry at that because I resolved myself to, again, the principles of forgiveness. But I also knew that in my heart of hearts, they just didn't know any better. My parents did not know any better.
I've leaned on that a lot.
You know? Yeah. Can't hold them accountable for what they didn't have the capacity to implement.
Absolutely.
So, but the disappointing thing I became angry with was, especially my father. So I'll speak to that in a minute. But,
okay.
So, you know, we're going to the doctors, you know, we're getting to know about tuberous sclerosis and just, I love Rand. He was awesome. And, he really helped us out in transition. And so then we found out about a regional conference that the Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance was holding at NYU down in Lower Manhattan. So, you know, my wife and I said, hey, let's go to this, you know. So it's only like an hour and a half train ride from New Haven, Connecticut. So we went down there, and there was so much to do. And it was kind of funny. We met Kari for the first time, and Kari is such a sweetheart. We love Kari. I know that many other people do, but she was setting up tables as a volunteer at the time.
Was she?
And she was so nice. Yeah, she was so nice and supportive. So Nadia, she gave us the agenda. The tracks were going on, you know, the pediatric side and the adult side. And it really wasn't too much for the adults, but there was an adult track. So I said to Nadia, all right, you take the pediatrics. I'll go find out what's happening to the adults. So I walked into looked like a small high school auditorium. And I walked in there, and there was a speaker. I don't even know who it was, to tell you the truth. And I think it was Dr. Davinsky maybe. But I sat next to this young lady, and she just approached me and said, hey, you know, my name is so-and-so. And, you know, I said, I'm an adult with tuberous sclerosis. I said, yeah, I just got diagnosed. What's going on? So we shared stories. I don't think we listened to any of the track. We were just so infatuated with each other as far as, wow, another adult. And
I bet.
We became close friends. And she introduced me to the Alliance.
That's
and
great.
With Vicki, and introduced me to Vicki Whittemore at the time. And I mean, and we just started getting more involved and more involved. So then 2004, there was another regional conference up in Boston, Massachusetts. So we went to that. And that's where things started really to unwind officially, because they had this thing they called Meet the Expert. So I put my name in, and my name was drawn to meet with then Dr. Bissler.
Oh, wow.
And he's a nephrologist. Oh, yeah. I was like, wow, okay, this is cool. This guy seems really nice. And he asked me, he says, well, let's go through some of your patient history, your family history. Does anybody else have seizures? I go, well, it's funny you say that, because when my father, he divorced my mother when I was 4. He got remarried and had 3 kids. Well, come to find out, around that time all this was happening, I was talking to my sister Adele. Her daughter had seizures and was diagnosed with tuberous sclerosis.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
So now it gets real interesting, because then we're going to talk about my father. And what I had come to know was usually, as if it's, you know, it's a genetic disorder, so you're passing it down.
Right.
And in this case, nobody knew we had it. But going through family history, as I did at that moment for those first few months, I found out a lot about my father and about his mother. My grandmother I really believe she had the renal manifestations, which, as we know, get worse as you get older, and present, I should say. But she used to come over at the house, according to my aunts and my mother, and look for kids under a stove. So she wasn't wrapped too tight a little bit there. There was something off. So then my father, he had kidney problems.
Interesting.
And he wasn't wrapped too tight. So now it's a little worse than my grandmother, a little more involved. And then I come along, I'm having seizures and the neuropsych, and I have kidney issues. And then when our son was born, full blown. I mean, he's under the autistic spectrum. He's had 2 status seizures where he had to be life flighted. I mean, down here in 2009, it's crazy. So you can see the transition, the progress getting worse and worse as it's going down.
Yeah.
Now, let me speak to my father, if you will.
Sure.
When I told my father what was going on, it's like he was shell shocked. But I think and again, going back to that, they didn't know any better, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
For sure.
I asked my father if he would be kind, because he had tons of medical issues, especially with his kidney. Mm-hmm. And I remember fighting. I'm learning more about tuberous sclerosis and how it affects the body. And I remember going to his nephrologist at the time and say, look, these are not cysts, these are tubers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't tell me what you think I should know, and get out of here with that. And I know he's my patient. I don't want to talk to you. Get out of my face. That's what okay. Trying to talk to my father, he promised me that he would go and have genetic testing, but he never did, and he died a short time later.
Oh, sorry to hear.
But in the meantime, talking with, again, Kari's moving up the ranks. Now she's the vice president of the Alliance, and Vicki was just about to leave the Alliance to do something else. But all those people, and especially Dina Hook, I got to meet Dina in the National Family Conference in Chicago. And it was like one of the best things I could have ever done is have happened to me through the Alliance.
That conference, everyone I've talked to from the TS Alliance mentioned something about that conference in Chicago.
It was an awesome conference. And, just to connect with people. Mm-hmm. And I remember meeting Kari when I first got there. I remember dropping my bags and putting my stuff in the room. And then, Kari, what would you like me to do? And she just said, here, greet people. They were running around real hectically. So I remember staying there around 9 o'clock in the morning and greeting people till about 8 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And it's I had no problem doing it. I met so many people.
You felt like you were in your element.
Yeah, because now I had a vision. Now I had a purpose. Now I had a passion.
Yeah.
And I remember this one couple come walking in and, hey, my name is Mark, and, welcome. Hope you have a child. Okay. And I remember telling them, I get it, because they were very nervous. You could tell that they had never done anything like this before. And I said, look, you're going to have a time that you're going to come back and find me after this is all over. And you're going to say, wow, you were right. And sure enough, the last day of that conference, they came back to me, and they were like totally different people. Their countenance, I'm so thankful we're part of this. And I don't remember their names for the life of me, but it's all good.
Yeah. So what an impact.
The other thing, Jill, was that I got to meet Dr. S. And Dr. S is Dr. Kevin S. He runs the clinic down here at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital.
Okay. Forgive me for not knowing who it is.
That's okay, because I know I'm skipping around a lot, but Dr. Teal up in Mass General.
Well, that's our doctor. Well, my kid.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
We were just having over 100 ISs a day. And we up on their way, my brother-in-law gave us a ride up to Mass General one time, and he was having seizure after seizure. Well, she's the one who provided the
Gabapentin.
See, it's happening. Yeah, the Vigat, right?
Yeah.
And we went back to Connecticut, and he didn't have any on the ride home because she administered some Vigat to him.
Oh, wow.
So she became very special to us, obviously for that reason, but also other stuff. And she would come into Hartford and present, and we'd find out where she was going to be and go, and we just cut up a storm, laughing around a table. And after she presented, she'd hang around a little bit. So it was really cool. But Dr. S said, I want you, because when he found out, because Dr. Teal said to him, he's moving down to Tennessee. He said to me, I want you to help me in my clinic. I want you for my clinical ambassador.
Wow.
So that was June
that must
of 06.
Have been a big boost.
Oh yeah. Well, and I had a purpose again. And in August of 06, a couple months later, we moved to Tennessee. Matter of fact, in a couple weeks, 13 years we've been down here. And I immediately stepped into his clinic, and it was such a rewarding experience because I was able to help people. I was able to stop the ignorance to some extent. I was able to educate these parents so that they could have hope, that they weren't in a no-win situation and with no answers. And again, a lot of support I got from the Alliance. I could never say thank you enough, because they empowered me with the information I need. Dina was always right there to send out stuff, materials or whatever I needed. And that was in its early stages. As a fact, I think we were the first clinic with a clinical ambassador, I think, if I'm correct. Again, that was 13 years ago. Now, they're all over. Hopefully there could be a whole lot more, but there's a lot more than there was then. Being able to help people and to go to I went to IEP meetings. I've gone to tons of IEP meetings. I've gone to court for a few times.
Have you?
I go to the ER. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what's the process? Does somebody from the clinic tell you, we're wondering if you can help with this person or that person and meet with them, or how does that work?
Nope, it's all structured differently now, and it probably should have been that way with me, but I flew completely under the radar. I mean, the only person who knew about what I was doing, other than Dina and, the powers that be at the Alliance, was Dr. S and his immediate nurse. I'm telling you, I just took it upon myself to make myself available. Hey, if you need me, here's my number. I would give them the patient my number. And then within a few years, as a matter of fact, before Inspire came to be, we had what was the listserv. And
yep,
the big
I remember it.
Yep. And the big debate at the time was, knowing what you know about tuberous sclerosis, do I have another child?
Yeah.
Well, I had one family that was very distraught, and I remember the mom saying, "Hey, listen, I don't know what to do," and she was in tears. And I said, "Listen, all you can do is pray about it. I can't tell you either way. That's got to be your heart's conviction." Well, about 3 years later, I went to the walk here in Nashville, tuberous sclerosis walk. And I saw her, Mark, hey, remember me? I go, hey, how's it going? Glad to see her. And she takes a little toddler from behind her, reaches around and says, this is Johnny. He doesn't have TS. Thank you so much. And I didn't do anything. But apparently they went with their heart's conviction, and there's a 50% chance, obviously, and it worked out. So that's one of my favorite stories to tell, because it's like, hey, TS doesn't rear its ugly head all the time, So
that's a beautiful moment. And I think it is. It's up to the individual parents. But I, as someone that did know the risks and did take the risks on and had more kids with TSC, I don't regret it, but I had no idea what I was in for.
Yeah.
So
we did, and slipped under the radar. Our daughter, she's 17 now, and other than teenage issues, she's perfectly fine.
That's good. So, good to hear.
So, getting, and another bright spot for me was, and I don't know how this happened. I mean, to me, I'm not deserving of anything. In 06, up in D.C., because I was invited to D.C. to go up there and advocate with those folks up there. Another great experience. I got Volunteer of the Year award. And
Did you? Awesome.
And it just really spurred me to do more. So around that time was called the Adult Task Force. And it was started by Nikki and myself, and, the adult that I had met in NYU in 2001. And she had suffered from LAM and had to take a back seat. So Dina got together and got a few of us adults together to form what's called the ARC, Area Regional Coordinators Program. And that's where you have an adult, and like I cover Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and any adults that we can find or is in there and who contact the Alliance, and we offer them support the best way they can. And what that did for me was expand my horizons of advocacy, because to this day, I still have a male support group that we touch base on phone calls.
Oh, cool.
The male support group was basically nationwide. I had at one time 23 guys. Now I'm down to about 2. They dissipate, and I still speak to one gentleman once a week on Sunday nights. We spend the time about half an hour, 45 minutes, and he's pretty decently effective, but he's pretty cognitive, and he works and all that good stuff. So the friendships I've developed because it's amazing. But I've got the best teammates on this art program, because I came into mental health again recently, and the team, like with Rob and Shannon out in California, you got Brooke up in Ohio, Kathy. Actually, I met Kathy and her daughter in NYU in 2001, but this was the meeting. But I've known her that long, and Kathy's this great workout in the Virginia area. And but one guy that I met had a very big, I miss him. It was Keith Hall.
Oh boy.
And Keith was an amazing man, such a gentle giant. Put me in check a few times, and I was going through rough times. And one year he'd be the president, or whatever. Not the president, but the forget my brain cells right now.
No, that's okay.
I'm working on my second concussion from falling. But
are you serious?
Yeah, I've had a vestibular issue that's hit me for the last year and a half. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. We're still trying to see if that's seizure activity or not, but which we don't think so, because, again, I've always had nocturnal seizures. But Keith was a beautiful individual. And then when Kari took over the CEO's position, I was like, what a victory for her.